This podcast is brought to you by the Arete podcast. And please vote for our friend Shawin from the Goosebumps Crew podcast to win the Face of Halloween 2025. The link is in the description. Your vote is appreciated.
Welcome to the AI Analysis Podcast. Grab your tissues because we're talking Heartbreak with Toon Talk 2.0.
That's right. And if you watch the video that kind of kicked this all off, you know the tone was set like right away.
Yeah, it was heavy. You could almost smell the uncontrollable ice creams, as they put it.
Yeah.
Broken hearts everywhere.
Exactly. And we're not just, talking about feeling sad. We're digging into why we actually seem drawn to tragedy. Like, why do we watch this stuff?
It's a good question. The original hosts, they were dedicating the whole thing to anyone with a broken heart.
Yeah.
Right? But also framing it as this, catalyst for change.
Yeah, like getting stupidly buff at the gym.
Right. Instead of, the classic move of just eating chocolate or ice cream for those endorphins.
And that contrast, it's kind of perfect, isn't it? The self-improvement versus the self-medication. It sets up what we're trying to explore here.
Which is?
Well, how movies, music, all that entertainment stuff, it's like cultural programming. It doesn't just entertain us.
Mm-hmm.
It actually shapes how we feel, what we expect from relationships, even our day-to-day choices. It's pretty powerful when you think about it.
Okay. But before we get too deep into the emotional abyss, we got to talk about the snacks. The snack report. Mandatory viewing.
Yeah. So one of the hosts eating ice cream right there by the pier. You feel for them. You really do.
Until you hear the price. $8 for a cone.
I know. $8. Even in spring, that's steep.
That's a serious commitment to feeling better for 5 minutes.
And it led straight into that whole, vanilla versus chocolate thing.
Oh, yeah. Vanilla sucks. Chocolate is where it's at.
Which they turned into this whole metaphor for dating, right? Like the safe, maybe boring choice versus the rich, complex, maybe kind of dangerous one.
It's funny how even dessert choices reflect our taste for drama, isn't it?
Totally. And then the sponsor snacks came up. Trad Joe's dark chocolate raisins.
Which immediately sparked the real debate.
Dark chocolate covered pretzels.
Yes. One host was like, no way, that salt and chocolate mix is fucking crazy. Just couldn't handle the sweet and savory.
But the other one was like, no, I dig it.
And I think the dig it host kind of won that round, metaphorically speaking.
How so?
Because that mix, the sweet and the salty, that's exactly what tragedy and entertainment gives us, isn't it?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, the sweetness of the love story, then the salty tears of it all falling apart.
That's the perfect food analogy for doomed romance.
It really is. And just a quick apology. Apparently, the original show had some tech issues.
Yeah, a blocker, they called it. Something with Zoom or speakers.
Yeah.
So we didn't get the unplugged MPV keyboard music they promised.
Shame. Even Heartbreak gets hit by technical difficulties.
Always. Okay, so let's get back to that emotional core they were setting up.
Yeah.
This fascination with tragedy.
Right. They were pretty open about having this weird appreciation for a good tragedy, even when they were younger.
And this is where it got really interesting, connecting it back to, the human condition.
Yeah, the idea that tragedy gives us emotional distance. It lets us experience all that intense stuff, loss, grief, despair, but kinda safely, by proxy.
So we don't actually have to go through the real messy, life-ruining consequences ourselves.
Exactly. It's like a emotional simulation. You get the feeling, maybe the catharsis, without the actual trauma.
And that safe distance, that's what fuels the romanticized view of tragedy,
Right.
Especially when you're young. That desire for a relationship that's just doomed from the start.
Oh, totally. That belief that if it's short and intense and passionate, the fireworks will somehow make the inevitable crash landing worthwhile.
We've all kind of felt that pull, I think. Art and movies teach us that the best love is the chaotic, destructive kind.
Yeah, but then reality hits. The source host admitted, after actually living through something like that, it definitely feels different.
Fireworks aren't worth the crater it leaves behind.
Pretty much. The cost is just too high. And they found the perfect song for that feeling.
Bob Seger. We've got Tonight.
Yes. The ultimate anthem for knowing it's temporary, living just for this moment because tomorrow's gonna suck.
It captures that specific blend of passion and, resignation.
And speaking of songs hitting hard, that led them somehow through karaoke.
Barney crying while singing Cats in the Cradle. Yeah. Peak irony.
To How I Met Your Mother.
Which, as they said, is just so relevant to, our age and developing experience. It's like a decade of messy dating compressed into sitcom form.
And you watch it and you see yourself, don't you? You relate to Marshall's steadiness or Lily's compromises or definitely Ted's questionable choices.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You watch Ted do something incredibly stupid and think, oh, God, please don't let me have done that. And then 5 seconds later, oh, wait, no, I've totally done that.
It's painfully relatable. And that brings us to maybe the biggest relationship debate in the show, Victoria.
Right, the Victoria debate. One of the Source hosts came out swinging, calling her toxic and manipulative.
Yeah, linking her straight back to that doomed love archetype, the one who kind of needs the drama.
Which felt a little harsh, maybe.
Yeah.
Based on their own discussion, I mean. The counter-argument was that she was actually really mature.
Mature how?
Well, mature in the sense that she knew what she wanted, marriage stability. And she recognized when Ted wasn't going to give her that, at least initially with the long distance.
Okay, but did she really understand? Because the mature move probably isn't running out on your own wedding day.
That's the sticking point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leaving Klaus at the altar. That feels less like maturity and more like panic. Or chasing a fantasy.
Yeah, it definitely complicates the mature argument. And they went through the plot points, right? The reunion at the ridiculous Lenny Kravitz's ball architect ball.
Classic H.I.M. convention.
Her wanting marriage and then ditching her German fiancé and entire life for Ted. It's pure impulse.
Maximum romantic destruction.
Yeah.
Which then brought up that whole messy question of emotional cheating.
Right. Who cheated first? Was it Ted in those, 10 minutes where he decided to break up but hadn't actually done it?
Or was it Victoria and Klaus, who were apparently already kind of close back in Germany during the long-distance thing?
It's murky. But the real villain there, as both hosts agreed, was the long distance itself.
Oh, yeah. Consensus was, don't do it ever.
It just creates this void where needs don't get met and things get complicated really fast. It's a pressure cooker.
And ultimately, Victoria ditching Klaus opened the door for Robin.
And Robin wasted no time stepping through it, did she? With that infamous 2 a.m. call for juice.
Yeah, they flagged that as just deeply disrespectful. Everyone knows what juice means at 2 a.m.
It's the universal code for booty call.
So that whole sequence, the failed LDR, the potential cheating, Victoria's dramatic exit, Robin's late-night move, it perfectly illustrates the theme.
Yeah. How many reference and how many that one decision that is going to change everything. Each choice creates this ripple effect dictated by impulse and changing the entire course of Ted's life.
And that idea, the single pivotal, maybe tragic decision that leads us perfectly into the next example.
Forbidden love tropes. And this time it's animated. Batman Beyond.
Specifically, Terry McGinnis and Melanie Walker. 10.
This arc is just chef's kiss for doomed love. Terry's struggling with his girlfriend Dana because, secret life is Batman.
Standard superhero problem.
Then he meets Melanie. She's cool, she's interesting, there's chemistry.
But, the big but.
She's secretly 10 from the Royal Flush Gang. Criminals, his enemies.
And the climax is just brutal irony. Terry finds out who she is.
But she has no idea he's Batman, the guy actively trying to take down her family.
It's pure futuristic, neon-soaked Romeo and Juliet.
Absolutely. Two people connecting, but their families, their literal identities are completely at odds. And it's extra tragic because Melanie doesn't want this criminal life.
Her family sourcing her, which makes her choice impossible. How do you leave your literal family, everything you know?
For some boy that actually has a girlfriend, who also happens to be the guy trying to arrest you, it's not just choosing love, it's choosing between ingrained loyalty and personal desire.
In that gray area, that painful conflict, it connected back to something real for one of the hosts.
Yeah, the anecdote about dating someone online who, surprise, wasn't actually single.
And the host had to admit, looking back, they were essentially the Robin in that situation. The other person.
Which led to this really sharp insight about almost uprooting their entire life for this person.
And the realization that if you do that, if you erase your own context, your job, your friends, your city, to fit into someone else's chaos.
You can't actually be the person they fell for anymore.
Right. You sacrifice the very things that made you attractive, your independence, your stability, and you just become part of their mess.
It's this risk of self-erasure. And they captured it perfectly with that lyric from their own band, Again on Forever.
I want it all, and I want nothing when I'm without you. I lose myself.
That just nails the toxic dependency, doesn't it? Losing yourself in someone else's drama. It's the ultimate quiet tragedy.
This whole idea feeds right into the next big question. Can people change? Or maybe, should they change for a relationship?
Yeah, like falling for the rebel, the exciting, maybe slightly dangerous person.
The initial thrill is the chaos, the rule breaking. But then, inevitably, you start wanting them to. Stop.
Stop drinking so much. Stop eating McDonald's every day. Stop being quite so rebellious. You want the safer version.
Which forces the question.
Yeah.
When does encouraging positive change become trying to sculpt them into a version of herself in another body?
It's a fine line. They use the example of someone stopping drinking. Okay, great, healthier habit.
But maybe they lose their drinking buddies. Their social life changes. Their schedule changes. Their mood might even change.
Suddenly, they're not quite the same person you fell for. You removed the problem, but maybe you removed part of their personality, too.
It really makes you appreciate how rare it is to find someone who just accepts you. Flaws and all. Doesn't try to renovate you.
As they put it, finding that is very rare. It's like winning the lottery.
Oh, speaking of rare finds and maybe questionable choices, we probably need to acknowledge the commercial break moment here.
Right. The source material gave us plenty of options. Snickers, ice cream bars were mentioned.
Trad-Joe's, obviously, for the controversial pretzels and the raisins.
And DoorDash got a shout-out for enabling those late-night, probably emotionally driven food cravings.
It all ties together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even coping with Heartbreak is sponsored content these days.
We use brands to soothe existential pain. Let's take a quick pause, maybe contemplate our own snack-based coping mechanisms.
Good idea. We'll be right back to talk about wolves and whether they can ever truly be tamed.
You'd be surprised, like when people see my interviews, I like kind of like you're saying, people will come out of the woodwork, like from people I went to high school with and college. I'm like, hey, can I get their number? And I'm like, dude, there are people that I have their number. There are people that I have their email, but like, I'm not giving it to you. Like, that's just like, I haven't talked to you in 20 years, bro. Like, come on now. So it's a weird world, and I count my blessings, but sometimes it's like, dude, just enjoy the content like that. That is.
All right, we're back. And we were just getting into that tricky territory of changing for love or being changed by it.
Yeah, and the frame for this was that U2 song, Electrical Storm.
Right, the music video metaphor. The guy jumps in the ocean, pulling a tub.
To literally pull her out of her world, her metaphorical ocean, into his. So she has to die to her old life to be reborn in his.
But the warning was that this kind of total exchange, giving up everything, it's incredibly risky. Because, we're all flawed, full of defects.
Which sets up that really core philosophical question. Can people really fundamentally change? How deep does it go?
And the answer from the source was pretty stark. The wolf analogy.
Yeah.
When you born a wolf, no matter how much they pet you, no matter how much they feed you, one night you're going to be hungry and you're going to bite.
Ooh.
That's bleak.
It is. But it applies to those deep-seated things, right? Like ingrained insecurity or addiction, patterns of aggression, maybe pathological lying.
So the idea is love can motivate change, but it's external.
Kind of. You change for the person. But unless you do the really hard internal work, rebuilding habits, maybe even brain chemistry.
When the love fades or things get stressful.
There are patterns. The wolf, which is easier and more familiar, just comes back out. Because the internal structure wasn't fully changed.
It's just reverting to factory settings, basically.
A somewhat cynical way to put it, but yeah. And they made sure to define terms here, too, when talking about harmful behavior. Sociopath versus psychopath.
Okay, yeah, that's important. So psychopath.
No empathy. Doesn't really get good versus evil. Might even get satisfaction from causing pain because they literally can't understand the other person's suffering.
Right. And a sociopath.
Creates chaos, causes pain, but does have empathy. They understand they're hurting someone.
I just don't care enough. Or the chaos serves another purpose for them.
Exactly. Like those social media pranksters they mentioned, causing distress for clicks or laughs. They know it's wrong, but the payoff outweighs the empathy.
Got it. Okay, so to push back against this wolf never changes idea, they brought up a movie example.
Machine Gun Preacher. Gerard Butler. Based on a real guy, Sam Childers.
And this guy's change was extreme.
Totally. Went from being, as they said, a real hard dude, biker, addict, criminal, to finding God, getting clean.
And building an orphanage in war-torn northern Uganda, fighting the LRA.
I mean, that's about as drastic a life change as you can imagine. Surely that proves the wolf can change.
But here comes the wolf pushback again.
Right. Even after this massive spiritual and lifestyle transformation.
He still had zero qualms picking up a gun and fucking people up to protect those kids.
So the aggression, the capacity for violence, it didn't vanish.
It just got redirected.
Yeah.
Weaponized for good, you can argue. The wolf was still a wolf, just fighting for a different pack.
It supports that argument. The core nature doesn't disappear. It might get channeled, refined, suppressed, but it's still under the surface.
Okay, deep stuff. Let's maybe pivot to something slightly lighter. No, wait, definitely not like that. Titanic.
Ha!
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie that launched a million memes and endless debates. Gotta ignore the I'm Flying Jack stuff for a second.
And just acknowledge, as they did, the movie absolutely holds up. It's almost 30 years old.
It really does. And that quick review they gave was spot on. First half, romance. Second half, action thriller. Something for everyone.
But then came the really provocative take.
Oh, boy. Was Cal Hockley the real victim?
I know, the argument being that Jack, this low-life asshole who literally won his ticket in a card game, just waltzes on board and steals Cal's fiancée.
Okay, let's try to see the Cal defense through their eyes for a second. He's rich, handsome, powerful by 1912 standards.
Engaged to Rose, who in this reading is a little brat, unhappy with her gilded cage.
So Cal's perspective is he's being reasonably decent, planning their future, and suddenly his fiancée is running off, getting naked for some penniless artist she just met. He feels disrespected, cheated on.
And the analysis pushed even harder on Rose, calling her a suicidal sociopath.
Okay, that's extreme hyperbole, obviously.
Yeah, meant to shock. But the point was she had daddy issues, felt trapped by the arranged marriage. It was basically using Jack for a last adventure, a final act of rebellion before submitting to her fate.
It frames her actions as incredibly reckless and selfish, not just romantic, using Jack as a tool against her circumstances.
But hang on, we got to bring in the counter-defense. Cal was not just some poor, wronged fiancé.
No, definitely not. He was controlling and dismissive from the start. Remember him cutting up Rose about her Monet paintings, belittling her taste?
Exactly. And crucially, when Rose was actually suicidal, trying to jump off the stern, Jack saved her. Where was Cal?
Emotionally checked out long before the iceberg showed up.
Right. So the theory that really ties it all together thematically.
Jack and Cal as foils of the masculine ideal.
Yeah. Jack is the fantasy. Poor, free-spirited, noble, heroic, and importantly, fictional. He has to die to remain perfect.
While Cal represents the reality of the modern, or at least early 20th century, American man, focused on wealth, status, control, transactional.
And the whole movie really is Rose's journey, from girlhood, defined by others' expectations,
to womanhood, making her own choices. And the key moment wasn't the sex scene.
No, it was that quieter moment, seeing the little girl putting on the fancy lady's gloves.
And Rose sees her own future reflected a life of elegant confinement.
And in that moment, she just thinks, fuck that. That's her liberation, choosing agency over obedience.
And just to bring the wolf analogy full circle, they mentioned Cal's fate after surviving the sinking.
Yeah. He didn't die in the water, but he killed himself for the market after the 1929 crash.
The financial wolf couldn't handle losing his status, his wealth, his core nature tied to money, ultimately destroyed him anyway. The wolf went back to being a wolf.
Wow. Okay, so moving from that specific epic, they looked at the broader emotional landscape of movies, including some audience suggestions.
Right. Listener recommendations via YouTube comments. We got Marley and Me.
Oh, God. Guaranteed tears every time.
Yeah.
That pure, gut-wrenching, pet loss grief.
Then Clerks 3, described as super emotionally manipulative, but effective if you're already invested in Kevin Smith's world. Otherwise, just a major bummer.
And the big, sweeping historical downer, Dr. Zhivago. Just relentless cold and sadness.
And the insight there was interesting. Sometimes we need a sad movie.
Yeah, it's like permission to feel the stuff we normally push down. Even a song like Charlie Chaplin's Smile, which sounds happy, can become intensely sad if you're in that headspace.
And who are the modern masters of making us feel complex emotions?
Pixar. Definitely Pixar. They pointed to Inside Out.
Which just brilliantly put into words that feeling that memories that were happy are now sad, but that's okay. The complex nostalgia and acceptance of change.
Elemental, gotta mention too, is another one that just hits you right in the feels.
Yeah.
Made one of the hosts cry.
Pixar really gets that emotional maturity often means accepting sadness as part of joy.
Okay, but then the discussion took a necessary but much, much darker turn. Films depicting real, historical, brutal human suffering, with warnings attached.
Yeah, this was about acknowledging the depths cinema can explore. Europa.
The true story of the Jewish boy hiding in plain sight in the Hitler Youth. The stress must be unbearable just watching it.
And the pianist, which one host uses as a source of inspiration, actually, a reminder of resilience, finding that second chance amidst total devastation.
But then we got into territory needing serious trigger warnings. Flowers of War, Christian Bale.
Depicting the rape of Nanking, based on real accounts, extreme violence, sexual assault, approach with caution, and then Salo, Pasolini's film.
Described as just pure evil. 1930s Italy, politicians torturing victims for entertainment, physically upsetting, feeding people bread with nails.
It's hard to even talk about. The point wasn't gratuitous shock, though.
No, it was about showing the full spectrum. If tragedy lets us explore emotions safely, these films push the boundary, forcing us to confront the absolute worst of human potential for evil and sometimes for survival.
Right. It's the extreme end of experiencing things by proxy. Okay, let's try to lift the mood slightly. Music as an emotional marker.
Funeral songs. Everyone secretly plans their funeral playlist, right?
Apparently so. One host chose Chopin's Nocturne in C-sharp minor for quiet contemplation during the closed casket part.
Classy. The other host, a bit more eclectic, Annie Lennox Into the West from Lord of the Rings for the viewing.
Beautiful song, very fitting.
But then for the actual burial.
Always look on the bright side of life from Monty Python's Life of Brian.
You gotta love the tonal whiplash. Seriousness followed by pure, defiant absurdity. It kind of sums up the whole discussion.
It really does. But the most personal song mentioned was Shinedown's, A Symptom of Being Human.
Yeah, linked directly to the host's father's death and his tragic life. A song that becomes fused with a specific, profound loss.
Which loops us all the way back to the beginning, the main thesis.
We are pre-programmed, our ideas about love, relationships, drama, they come from the entertainment we soak up.
Exactly. Our emotional playbook is written by movies, TV, music. Before your first kiss, you saw 1,000 kisses on screen. Your expectations are set.
Whether you grew up on Cheers expecting witty banter and eventual stability,
Or dramatic telenovelas expecting passion, betrayal, and maybe amnesia.
or even certain music scenes, like maybe 80s rock expecting rebellion.
Yeah.
That's the script you unconsciously follow.
And sometimes we get the script completely wrong, like the example of Born in the USA.
Right, people blasting it at patriotic rallies thinking it's this big anthem.
When it's actually a really bitter protest song about how America treated its Vietnam vets, the meaning gets lost, twisted by the cultural context.
So the whole point of this analysis, this whole conversation, is to become aware of those scripts,
Yeah,
to
Chief.
question them.
Exactly. To recognize the education of the visual arts, as they called it, and how it shapes us, and to maybe try and break the pattern, they offered one final, hopeful recommendation.
The Alchemist.
Paulo Coelho.
Yeah, a book explicitly about not looking for treasure or validation externally, but finding it within.
Shifting the focus from finding the perfect Jack or Rose
To discovering your own internal worth, listening to your own heart, not the cinematic one. The message being, what starts as a journey to find worldly goods turns into discovery of the treasure found within.
And there was that lovely personal touch at the end. One host gave the other the graphic novel version.
Yeah, because the original book had been given to him years ago with a note.
I know what love is, do you?
Wow.
Powerful, right? Acknowledges how hard real love is, but still offers hope through self-discovery, not just romance.
So after all that darkness, the heartbreak, the tragedy, the wolves, Salo, we end on a note of potential.
I think so. It's about awareness. Recognizing how these stories influence us, for better or worse. We're all navigating tough times, bumping into the same challenges. It's a shared experience.
And as the original host concluded, maybe, just maybe, it's about the journey, not the goal.
That feels like the most important takeaway. Be mindful of the stories you consume and how they shape your expectations. That awareness is the first step to writing your own script, not just acting out someone else's tragedy.
That's a great place to land. Thank you for walking us through all that intense material.
My pleasure. It was a lot to unpack.
And thank you, our friend listening, for sticking with us through this emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely share your thoughts. What movies or songs hit you the hardest? What defines heartbreak or hope for you? We'd love to hear it. Until next time.
Call me Mr. Feelgood, we can dance and we can fly together. Call me Mr. Feelgood, spread your wings and we can fly together. Call me Mr. Feelgood, we can dance and